Good morning. Hi, I'm Frank Messina, and this is the April 19, 2022 meeting of the Chatham Historical Commission. We have a couple of announcements to make before we begin. Please note, this meeting is being recorded and will be available shortly hereafter for scheduled and on-demand viewing on any smartphone or tablet device. If anyone else is recording the meeting, please notify the chairman. Don't see anybody? Pursuant to Governor Baker's June 16, 2021 signing of an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency and the extension of his March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provision of the open meeting law, General Law 30A 20, until July 15, 2022, this meeting of the Chatham Historical Commission is being conducted both in person and via remote participation. Every effort will be made to ensure the public can adequately address the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to listen into this meeting while it is in progress may do so by calling the phone number 508-945-4410. Conference ID 203-530-380 #, or by joining the meeting online via Microsoft Teams through the link posted on the agenda. Despite our best efforts, we may not be able to provide for real-time access. And we'll post a record of this meeting on the town's website as soon as possible. Okay. We have, I'm going to do a roll call, but just for everybody's information, we have 4 members of the commission present. We have 2 members who are participating remotely. Don Aikman, who should be fishing, and Jane Moffett. I assume Don and Jane, you can hear me?
Yes, we can.
Don?
Yes, I can hear you, Frank.
All right, very good. We're going to proceed with a roll call. Vice Chair Bob Lear.
Present.
Steve Burlingame is absent. Ben Smolodzinski.
Here.
Stephanie Hamilton, absent. Jane Moffett.
Here.
Don Aikman.
Here.
Sandy Porter.
Here.
And Jane Tennyson.
Janet Tennyson here.
Okay, thank you very much. At our last meeting, Janet acted as a voting alternate, and at this meeting, Sandy will act as a voting alternate for Stephanie Hamilton, the only member who's not present either here or remotely. Okay, and the chair is here. Thank you very much. Okay, first item quickly here, we'll do the minutes from April 5th, 2022. Everybody has had the minutes, and hopefully you've had a chance to look them over. I don't think there's anything significant or any of the changes. Any comments, corrections, or additions to the minutes? Entertain a motion to accept the minutes. Ben moves. We need a second.
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 Janet, you didn't hit the buzzer fast enough. Second by Mr. Lear. Okay, we need to do a roll call with all votes of the commission. Bob?
Yes.
Ben?
Yes.
Jane?
Yes.
Don?
Abstain.
Don abstains, not present. And Janet?
Yes.
Okay, and the chair votes yes. Oh, the minutes passed. Okay, moving right along. I apologize to the public and those who are watching or listening in. We had some last-minute information that became available to the full commission, both its members who are present and those who are participating remotely. So we're going to do things a little bit differently here. Has Mr. Zebrat's present?
Yes, I'm here, sir.
Thank you. Okay, application 22003, 158 Main Street, which was presented by Mark Zebrat, last week. That was heard both, or being heard both in reference to Chapter 158 and because it's contributing structure in the National Register District. During discussion, there was some concerns expressed by the commission, and we decided to ask Sarah Korjeff of the Cape Cod Commission to provide some comments to assist us in our determination. Sarah, unfortunately, due to personal reasons, just could not get to her the site visit and the comments, so we don't have them. So I guess, Mark, I think we're kind of in agreement. We'll continue this to May 3rd, our next meeting.
Yes, I'm in agreement.
Thank you. With the applicant in agreement, I think we need a motion to continue 22003 to our May 3rd meeting. Mr. Vice Chair?
I so move that we continue it with the applicant's request and permission.
Seconded.
Second by Sandy. Okay, no other discussion? All right, roll call. Bob?
Yes?
Ben?
Yes.
Jane?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
And Sandy?
Yes.
Don, you were absent from the last hearing, so I would suggest, are you going to be absent from the next meeting on 5/3?
No, I'll be there.
Okay, but either way, I guess in accordance with our rules and regulations, you need to watch the meeting.
I attended the last meeting.
Say again?
I attended the last meeting.
Oh, you were attending. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I got confused. Oh, it was Steve that was absent. Okay, sorry about that, Don. Okay, so we're okay. All right, so, and the chair votes yes, so the motion passed. Marcus?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
that's continued to May 3rd.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you for consideration.
You're quite welcome, and I appreciate your cooperation. And as soon as we get something from Sarah, we'll make sure it's distributed as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have Mr. Riley?
Yes, you do.
Thank you, Bill. Okay, application 22004, to be heard both in reference to Chapter 158, the demolition delay bylaw, as well as as a contributing structure in the National Register District in accordance with the provision of the Cape Cod Commission Regional Policy Plan. There was a site visit conducted on Friday. I think 4 of us attended. Janet, Sandy, Bob, and myself, and hopefully other members of the commission. Don, I guess you obviously didn't do the site visit, but I assume you're familiar with the property. And Jane, did you do a site visit?
Yes, I did.
Very good, thank you. We're in the same situation with this application as we were with the 22003, in that in discussions with the architect, Patrick Ahern, as well as the fact that some information came in rather late on Thursday, Friday, and Monday, reference to the application and responses to from the public, as well as to the architect. I think there's kind of a consensus that we probably should continue this in addition to everything else that's going on, to receipt of Sarah Korjeff's comments relative to the application as is submitted. Mr. Riley, are we in concurrence here?
Yes, we would request a continuance to May 3rd.
Thank you very much. So we have a request and a concurrence from the applicant to continue the application to May 3rd. So, Mr. Lear?
I move it be continued to May 3rd with Mr. Riley's concurrence.
I second.
Thank you. Second by Sandy. Okay, any other discussion? I would just say that, and I know there are members of the public here reference to the application, and I apologize for that, but unfortunately, you know, receiving information Thursday, Friday after things were closed, and then receipt of application. Part of the problem is, in addition to those of us present here, we have members of the commission who are proceeding remotely, and they can't get hard copies, so they require it electronically. So unfortunately, it wasn't until last night that I was able to get the comments which were received on, I guess, yesterday afternoon, and distributed to everybody. So I'd like to put everything on a level playing field, and we'll continue this application on 5/3. Thank you very much. Okay, we're moving on to new business.
Frank, did you actually take the vote?
Yeah, excuse me, Frank, I don't think you voted.
Oh, I thought we
I
voted.
don't think
Oh,
you
we didn't?
voted on the continuance.
Okay, sorry about that. Thank you. Okay, the vote on the continuation, Bob?
Yes?
Ben?
Yes.
Jane?
Yes.
Don?
Yes,
Sandy?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Okay, so the application 22004 will be continued to our May 3rd meeting, so be prepared. Now, just the members of the commission, there's some meaty stuff in those comments from the applicant, from the public, as well as the attorney, so we got to take a close look at that, so we will discuss it more in detail at our meeting on May 3rd.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Riley. Okay. Review of new business. Michelle has provided you with a copy of our application. Sorry? Yes.
How can the public get copies of correspondence?
I'm sorry. Why don't you come forward? I'll take your comment. Just. You need to go to the lectern.
The microphone.
I guess, can you go to the lectern? I apologize. It's just the things are. Just introduce yourself and give us your address.
I'm Nancy Kerner, 95 Captain's Walk. I wanted to know how the public can receive copies of correspondence such as that you're referring to.
Very good question. Michelle Clark, who's our administrative assistant, can give you a copy.
Wonderful.
But in addition, correct me if I'm wrong, all of this will be online. Okay, so if you go to the town's website under Historical Commission or meetings, it'll say meeting 5/3, and then on the corner, it'll say agenda and minutes or something like that. And so if you hit that particular, blue, it'll come up and you'll get an electronic copy of the whole package.
Wonderful.
But in addition, call Michelle, she'll give you a copy.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Michelle, when do those go on the website?
I didn't put them up this morning.
It's not-
I
it's not on it yet.
I can scan them and put them up when I get back upstairs, but they will be on for the next meeting.
No, but I didn't know whether you're going to wait until the next.
I'm sorry, Bob. Could you just please?
Yeah, I just trying to clarify, I know Michelle didn't have them on today, because we didn't know it was going to be on, but are you going to be waiting until that next agenda goes out for May 3rd, or do they now show up somehow other than that? I'm just trying to see when Nancy can look for them on the website.
That's a good point. We could put it on, Bob, we could put it on for the last meeting.
When the meeting is over, I can go upstairs and add this correspondence to today's agenda.
Okay,
It
perfect.
will also be attached to the May 3rd agenda.
Right, okay.
Okay?
Yep, perfect,
And-
very good.
And let me just say, was one of the reasons why I did not want to have this meeting here today and to continue it, because we haven't really met the requirements of providing the information to the public. And when we receive information after Michelle has sent the packet out, I guess when you sent, Bob, like a court of law, we can say, well, we didn't receive it, we're not going to consider it. Well, we're not a court of law, and we try to be a little bit more cooperative with everybody. So that was the other reason for continuing it. Don, you going fishing now?
Yes, Frank. I will depart this evening.
All right, let's go. Anyway, back to new business. Gee, we lost our audience. I'm feeling a little bit, okay. What Michelle has, Michelle's the one who bears the brunt of, over the counter when people come in and get an application and try to fill it out. And Michelle has found that there's some areas in the application which are unclear, or at least could be clearer, and make it a little bit, make it clearer and make it easier for the applicants to fill it out. So we're not going to do anything now. What I'd like you to do is to take the application, which Michelle gave you in your packet, go home and make believe you're filling out an application, and see if you can, get a sense of what are they asking and how do I answer that. And I think that might be a good discussion. Concurrent with that, Michelle is planning to have a conversation with Sarah Korjeff. I don't know if you saw my email this morning, not this morning, about 15 minutes ago. Sarah Korjeff is going to be available Thursday at 10 o'clock, I think that's the time, to have a discussion about the South Chatham Village National Register District agenda. And so I sent out it's a new world today. I sent out an email to Sarah, and I said that I could be available on Thursday at 10 o'clock. I sent you a copy. If you're available, we could talk about any questions we have about the National Register District application, and then we can talk about the application.
Yes, Sarah and I have a meeting on Thursday. I don't recall what the time is. Something
Say
makes me-
again?
Sarah and I have already scheduled a meeting for Thursday, so it could be concurrent.
Sarah who?
Sarah Korjeff and I emailed last
Oh.
week, and we already set a time to discuss the application and get her input this Thursday. I think the time is 10 o'clock. I'm not sure.
That's funny.
So it's fine. It'll be concurrent. That works.
And I didn't even talk to you about that.
No.
Michelle, we're spending too much time talking to each other. We start doing it. All right, okay.
Just a question.
Yes, sir.
Question for Michelle about this. We talked about it the other day, and I just want to clarify. One of your questions was whether we should separate the two applications?
Yes.
And other would be, can we somehow, I guess, segregate the part that refers to the historic register district sort of in a separate clump, and so that it's not interwoven? Is that the?
Yes, I think that's the direction that we need to take, because there's too much confusion as to how we calculate square footage. The Cape Cod Commission regulations talk about gross floor area. When we calculate square footage, it's length times width. So there's a lot of confusion, and that's why I reached out to Sarah to see how she might be able to help me get at least, Chapter 158, in my opinion, is easier to deal with than National Register. So if she can help me with the National Register piece and get that into better language, then I think we'll be okay. And I do agree that I think part of the application where different information is required for National Register should be pulled out and in a separate space from 158.
Okay, then that's
Good.
how I will look at it when I'm
Yes.
looking at it.
Well, at
Okay.
one point, we did have two applications.
I know.
And then when our previous director was here, we decided that we would commingle them, and it works, but it doesn't work.
Well, I think one part of it is that the calculation of square footage versus material removed is sort of irrational, and therefore people have trouble understanding it.
Well, I mean, in my opinion, it's one and the same. If you're removing material and losing material, it's kind of the same thing, unless you plan to repurpose the material.
No, I'm talking about the floor area square
Oh,
footage.
yeah, the floor area. See, that's the hard part. Cape Cod
Yeah.
Commission regulations base everything on gross floor area. If there's no floor area being removed, do you not see those applications? I would think you would still want to see them, but there's got to be a better way,
Yeah.
because you need to determine what's proposed is or is not a substantial alteration.
Right,
So it's messy. So we're going to try
Right.
and sort it all out.
okay. You and Sarah can do that.
Thank you.
Perfect.
It's interesting, we're kind of on this subject, and I'm not going to talk specifically to this particular application, 32 Ivy Lane, but talk about the issue generically, I don't know if that's the proper term. In the information provided to us by the applicant, he makes a point relative to the historical significance of a contributing structure where part of the contributing structure is not historically significant. Now I can't find it. I don't know if you saw that, Bob.
I did, but he seems to ignore the fact that once a building is listed as a contributing structure, that building is the contributing structure,
Exactly.
not his construct of
Exactly.
what's
I just
old.
I wanted to have that, let's not talk about the applicant, but I think traditionally, because that's an issue when people come with an application, they say, all right, here I am, and, I have this building, but that part is not historically significant, because I don't think it's historically significant, or it was built later, but that's not our commission. That's not how our rules and reg are proceeding.
Right.
We consider the entity of the building, as long as it's attached, it's one entity. If it's a separate entity, separate building, then okay, good. I'm just asking the members of the commission, when you do look at that information, your homework assignment is to think about that, because we're going to be talking about that next week with the applicant. Okay, great. All right. Michelle, all right? We're moving ahead. Okay, we have a number of things, just quickly, and we'll get out of here soon. I've been kind of busy, and I haven't been able to get my thoughts together relative to the issue of the Nantucket Sound as a National Historic Landmark. Mr. Nicastro, are you here? Is Dean with us?
I don't think I saw him earlier.
Okay, because Dean had some comments and question. I haven't had a chance to talk to Dean, and as the select board representative, and we'll get back to that. So I'm just going to push that off. I'm sure everybody's really upset that I'm doing that. Okay. The next item, the Preservation Awards for 2022, just please put that on your calendar, May 15th. It's going to be at 4 o'clock, correct, Michelle?
Yes.
And the reason
4
we're
to
moving...
5.
Sorry?
4 p.m. to 5 p.m.
Yeah, the reason we're moving it is that, guess what? The town meeting is that Saturday, and it doesn't look like it's going to finish. So guess what? The town meeting will probably continue on to Sunday. So,
For Thursday, till Thursday, maybe.
say again?
Maybe till Thursday.
Yeah, right, exactly. So having said that, we didn't want to reschedule our date, so we'll just move it, take another hour. So we'll have the event at 4 o'clock. Michelle, as always, is proceeding with all the preparations. The plaques have been ordered, right?
The plaques have arrived. I sent you a picture earlier. You probably didn't see the email.
No.
Plaques
Okay.
have arrived, posters have arrived. I have the invitations in hand, getting ready to stuff them and get them mailed out at the end of the month.
The only thing we need to do, and I guess it's my action, is just to codify the agenda of who's making a presentation. I know we discussed it.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
I've got to find my notes, so we need to
Okay.
do that. But we're moving along, and hopefully everybody will attend. Next item, the archaeological survey. Again, I had conversations with Katie relative to funding. Has she done anything?
Yes, Katie asked me to let you know that the funding source has been identified. We're just tweaking it right now.
The what?
The funding source has been identified, but we're just tweaking. There are a few things that need to be tweaked.
Excellent. Okay, great. All right, that's fine. We'll proceed with that. The next item is the update of the archaeological survey report. Again, I had a conversation with Katie. It's the same situation?
Same situation.
Excellent. Just have to be patient in this world. Eventually, it happens. So that's great. So we're gonna move with that. Just having said that, with those two things happening, the Form Es for the cemetery, especially the Bethel Cemetery in South Chatham, and the update of the archaeological survey, it's going to assist us as we proceed with the South Chatham Village National Register District, and more importantly, it will allow us, in my opinion, to put ourselves in a position with the concurrence of the Nickerson Family Association and the Chatham Conservation Foundation to put an application in to request Mass Historic make a determination on the eligibility of the dig as a National Register site. So, speaking of that, Michelle just happened to give me a list from Mass Historic of all the state Register of Historic Places in 2021. This is for the whole state. Now, we're in there somewhere. So, you know what to do, Michelle, if you can? Can you pull out the Chatham ones and just email it to everybody?
Yes.
Unless everybody feels they want to know. No, I didn't think so. Okay? So we have it. If you're driven at some point to know what's going on in the state, Michelle has a copy.
I have a question about
Yes, sir.
the Nickersons and this dig. The Nickersons, we're backing this, but they're holding on to all the private parts of it, when it's going to be open, when it's going to be managed, how it's going to be managed. So what's our position here? Are we putting any money into this, or is this just a backing of it by, just being behind something historic?
Okay. Let me answer it this way. First of all, I think as a commission, we've kind of have an obligation when we see something that could be either significant or eligible for listing. We do it on our Form Bs. Every time we do a Form B on a property or a site, we check, is this eligible for a National Register? Okay. There is no Form B for the dig. There will be once this archaeological survey report is done, okay, by PAL, okay, and I'm sure when she does it, she's going to check this is eligible as a National Register site. Having said that, then it behooves us as a commission to take it the next step, okay, to actually make a request of Mass Historic. Do they concur that this particular property structure is in fact eligible for listing? If Mass Historic says yes it is, then we, as a commission, I feel, have an obligation to approach the owner. And the owner in this case is the Conservation Foundation. And they own the property, and say, do you concur? Because you can't get something listed on the National Register unless the owner of the structure, the property, the site agrees to that, okay? And then we've had informal discussions with the Conservation Foundation and with the Nickerson family. They think it would be a good idea, and that's where we are. In terms of when it's open or how it's viewed, that's not up to us. It's up to the owner of the property. I mean, you can have a National Register building. For instance, the library is a National Register historic site. The brick building, which is a little commercial, so it's up to the owner of whether or not they want to make it available. It's not up to us or the Mass Historic.
Yeah, well,
Did I answer your
that's
question?
one of my, yeah, it answers my question partially, but I think that if we're going to sink money into this, then I think that we should get something for our dime. In other words, do we get some control? Does it have to be open a certain amount during the day? I mean, otherwise, why don't they just go ahead and do it on their own with, quotes, our letter of recommendation?
That's true. What we're acting, I mean, I understand what you're saying, Ben.
Yeah.
We're acting as a conduit, if you will, to encourage them.
Yeah.
They probably never even thought about it. That wasn't, but for me, and I feel our obligation as an historical commission, we have an obligation to help protect it. If it was listed, well, guess what? We get a little more protection, because in the state of Massachusetts, on Cape Cod, there is additional protection. Let me just say this, and I think, Michelle, just because you're listed on the state or National Register of Historic Places, in most places, you don't get any additional protection. But on Cape Cod, because we have a Cape Cod Commission, we get additional protection. So that's where we are, Ben.
Okay.
And now, but just to answer your question another way, the Nickerson Family Association has agreed to help and put some money in if there is some money to be expended.
Okay, well, that's, yeah, I just,
Sorry to be so long-winded, but no, I'm glad
What,
you asked. Okay.
what the public is gonna get for their dime, and,
What does the public get from us sitting here yapping? Not much.
well, they're actually getting some preservation of buildings.
Right,
I look at this, every time I go by a private road in town where they say, don't drive here, well,
I drive there.
I don't want anybody to drive there in the snow when they plow it, and then they're gonna say, well, we're plowing it for safety reasons.
All right,
you
we're
know?
getting
So,
off in another area.
I understand that,
All right.
but here it is. I mean, I think that it's all a good idea, but I think that we ought to be able to, when your grandson comes down and he wants to go down and look at this and look at the old coins, he ought to have a decent chance of getting in there. Not that it's open one day a year, you know? So.
Okay,
that's my-
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right, moving right along. We're segueing into the South Chatham Village National Register District. As everybody knows, or maybe not, in the public, we are in a very critical point here. The Mass Historic Commission has completed their review of our application and is now proceeding to the last step relevant to review, which is a informational meeting which will be held on May 25th here at the Annex with us. So put that on your calendar. We, as a commission, need to be here on May 25th. What time do we say, Michelle?
10:30 to 12:30.
10:30 to 12:30. We will effectively host, the commission, will host the meeting, which will consist of the Historical Commission, Mass Historic Commission, the Cape Cod Commission, and Eric Dre, our preservation consultant. I'm going to send some of this out in an email very shortly. Michelle and I were talking about it. And information and a letter, a formal letter, will be sent by Mass Historical Commission to every resident and property owner in the proposed South Chatham Village National Register District. So they're all going to be receiving notification of this meeting. This is an informational meeting, and the purpose of the meeting is to provide information about what it is, what it means, what are your rights, what are your responsibilities, and if you want to object to it. Having said that, a number of weeks after that, I think it's June 8th, Mass Historic Commission will then proceed to present the results of this informational meeting to the so-called State Review Board. The Mass Historic Commission and the state of Massachusetts every quarter holds what's called a State Review Board. They effectively review what's going on. And in some ways, I'm told this is pro forma for us, because then Mass Historic will get a permission to submit this application, which they have approved, to the National Park Service and its ultimate listing of the South Chatham Village as a National Register District. What is the public getting? We're going to have a third National Register District. We have the Old Village, we have the Marconi RCA site, and now the South Chatham Village will be included as a National Register District. And, you know, it's kind of a feather in our cap.
Is this gonna be a vote like the one we had
No.
for Stage Harbor Road?
No, this is not a vote. The one we did for Stage Harbor Road was pre any of this.
Oh, okay.
We didn't even get to the point of submitting the application. We were cut off in the knees before we even got this far.
All right,
I gotta be careful how I talk. Anyway,
yes.
God, I hope this is not, okay.
You could just bleep it like they do on TV.
Can you bleep that? No. Okay. Monomoy Theater. All right, our favorite subject. You have in your packet, okay, copies of a concept drawing that was submitted by the applicant, Greg Clark, and his daughter Victoria Clark, from, I guess it's Alexandra Properties, okay? As you're aware, and the public is aware, the applicant, Greg Clark, has received permission from the HBDC, Historic Business District, to subdivide a certain element of the property to single-family homes, unfortunately. The rest of the property, which includes the Washington Taylor property and the theater, the applicant has said from the beginning that he was planning to restore it, and here we are, he is planning to restore it. So he has submitted a concept drawing to the HBDC, and you just have it for information if you notice it. I do have a little bit of information beyond the application from watching the meeting and talking to Greg Clark. I have been in touch with Greg Clark as chair of your commission because he is still in the process of attempting to get historic preservation tax credits to restore the Washington Taylor House. And he needs some help from us as as the Chatham Historical Commission to concur that the property is historic, et cetera, et cetera. So we're working with him. I mean, we all would like to see the property preserved. Just to know, if you look at it, the Washington Taylor House is pretty much staying as is. He's looking to put a small addition on the rear. We have no authority here, just information. The theater itself, he's making some significant changes. He's putting a second floor in, and then a structure adjacent to it, which will hold the costume, the screen stop, et cetera, et cetera. So that's for the HBDC to work out the details. The only comment I would make is I do know when the HBDC reviewed it, they seemed to be okay with the Washington Taylor House renovations conceptually, but the theater itself, they felt that the size of the addition was larger than it could be. So again, it's up to the HBDC. I would say that from the get-go, we, as an historical commission, when we were trying to get it listed on the National Register, always had a significant problem with the theater. The Washington Taylor House is obviously historic and technically could be listed. The theater is not that old. It's undergone significant changes and renovations, and it's going to be very difficult for Mr. Clark to get any kind of tax credit for the theater itself. It's just not historic enough for the state or the National Park Service to agree. So that's anecdotal from my perspective, but he's still proceeding, and he wants to preserve the theater. Yes, sorry, go ahead, Sandy.
Am I the only one that thinks it looks like a school?
Well, I don't know what it looks like, but that's not our job.
When I first saw it, I couldn't.
It looks like, I looked at it and I thought, oh my gosh. Looks just sort of like an elementary school.
Well, I really want to get into what it looks like, not our job.
Okay.
But is,
My comment, sorry.
they're looking into how big this has to be for him
Yes.
to make it economically feasible.
Hopefully they are.
Okay.
I'm with you,
'Cause
Ben.
that's going to be,
I'm with you, Ben. I mean, if
I
the,
think it's critical.
I mean, if the HBDC pushes back too much, then he's not going to make it economically feasible. He needs to, his original plan was to put buildings, cluster buildings in the property above to pay for the theater. That, unfortunately, we turned it down at town meeting, and so now he's building single-family homes. So it's complicated, but,
Yeah, he wants to make, I thought, a dinner theater or something.
yeah. Okay. He's still proceeding. All right, so we're gonna continue to watch it, and, and if we're asked, we will comment. Last but not least, the Stage Harbor Coast Guard Boathouse is still proceeding. I haven't had an update in the last couple of weeks. I hopefully will have a discussion with some of the principals here, specifically the town, Mr. Duncanson, on where we are with the design. So the building itself is tucked away up in
Quincy.
Quincy, thank you.
Is it up at Jay Cashman's?
Yes, and it's all buttoned up, ready to be shipped back. So here we go. I think that's significant. All right, that's kind of old business. Just quickly, we don't have any correspondence other than the stuff you were given. Status of demolition delays. Michelle, can you help me on
There
that?
are no changes from the last time.
No changes?
No changes.
All right. So it is what it is, as they said. On the, we have nothing on the current administrative reviews and ratification. By the way, just to pat ourselves on the back, I can't do it with my right hand because I have a bad shoulder, but I can do it with left hand. You know, thank you very much. I think it's working. You know, I think we, you know, it's kind of lightened our load a bit, and I think Michelle, so it's something we ought to, you know, we did something, I think it's positive. We might want to expand that, and we'll talk more about it, but you know, I'm glad it's working. Michelle, you agree?
I do. I
Yeah.
think in the past 2 years since you've put the process in place, we've had about 12.
Good. All right. You know, part of it, you know, our customers are the public, and if we can make it easy for them and still preserve the historic elements that we're trying to preserve, I think it's a win-win for everybody. I have on the chairman's report a couple of things to just remind people of for your calendar. May 30th, Memorial Day. You know, there's the VFW holds the regular ceremony. I think it's at the community center. And the plans for the dedication of the Revolutionary War Memorial are now starting to solidify. Specifically, Bill Cullinane, who's kind of on the committee, it's not a committee, a working group of the Revolutionary War Memorial. The plaque has been completed, the stone has been purchased. Hope they're coming together at some particular point, and the stone will be installed at the foot of the ADA compliant path in Chase Park. And there will be a ceremony. What's going to happen is that at the conclusion of the ceremony in the community chest, Colonel Godfrey will appear in full regala as Colonel Godfrey. Bill Cullinane, he'll be dressed as Colonel Godfrey, and he'll say a few words about this memorial, because Colonel Godfrey was one of the notable leaders of the Revolutionary War battalion. Is it battalion? I'm sure it's battalion or whatever it is. So he will then say a few words, and he will invite the members of the public at the community chest to join him on a walk from the community center to Chase Park, and for the dedication. He will have with him a fife and drum, and they will be playing the fife and drum and march with hopefully some of the residents from the community center to Chase Park. At Chase Park, there'll be a dedication, a few words, very few words, said by a number of people, the unveiling of the monument. There'll be someone from a minister will be there to say a few words in terms of dedication, benediction, and that will be followed by a bagpipe player. So it should be an interesting event for those of us who've been working on it, and we'll finally have a memorial to the Revolutionary War. As I said to you previously, it includes, you know, some notable leaders and the families who were involved in the Revolutionary War. We couldn't list individual people because we would need 9 plaques. I mean, there were a lot of people in Chatham who were either gave their lives or were involved, but this does provide a dedication. All right. I don't think there's any questions. One other thing to be aware of, I had a request from Barbara Burrow of the South Chatham Village Library. I mean, everybody's aware we have a second library in town in South Chatham, okay? I think it's 150 or 200 years old. And next year, 2023, I believe, they're going to be celebrating the 150th anniversary of it. And I found out when I was requested to provide some historical information that there was no Form B for the South Chatham Village Library because it's an individual building. And I have received a nod from Ms. Donovan, and we're going to turn Eric on. We need to do that, Michelle. Turn Eric on to prepare a Form B for the South Chatham Village Library.
Okay,
Katie knows about it, and it's a couple $100, and
yes,
if you can take a look at that.
yes.
So it's kind of neat because they would like to get it formally recognized. The building itself moved around a bit, but, you know, that whole issue of the South Chatham Hall and the church, the Beth, you know, there's a whole compilation of groups that have been involved in South Chatham for many, many years. And so it's a chance to recognize the library. Okay, what do I have else? 410 Main Street, everybody knows what happened. The HBDC allowed them to demolish the building. The Zoning Board of Adjustment said no. And so the ZBA refused to provide permission for the building to be demolished and converted from a business to a residence. So that's where we are. The applicant, I guess, has got to make a decision how to proceed with 410 Main Street. And we'll see where we are. Okay, last but not least, Michelle, do we have any questions? Don's going to be back. And so for our next meeting, who's not going to be here? Stephanie?
Hold on.
And Steve. I think Stephanie and Steve are both going to be missing.
The May 3rd meeting, I think Stephanie will be back.
Okay.
And I believe Don will be back, and I think Steve is gone the whole month of May, but I'll confirm that.
Okay, good. All right, your chairman has spoken enough. Any other comments, questions?
I move we adjourn.
I second.
Okay. Roll call, Mr. Lear,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Don, gone fishing. Sandy,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes.
the chair votes yes. Thank you very much. Appreciate everybody's cooperation. Sorry we couldn't accomplish what we wanted to, but I think we did well.